Hey everyone, and welcome to the Bit by Bit Coding Club online. This is lesson 4 of our first project, Web Dev and Design. Today we'll be making a lemonade stand site for a fictional character, William Reynolds. So let's get right into it. Alright, so we've got our title. If you want, you can obviously change that if you'd like to make it say, we make it match the heading 1, which is what we'll put in here in just a second. So we're going to start, of course, as we always do, with the header. Close that out. And we are going to, in between that, do H1. And then it's going to say, welcome to William Reynolds is lemonade stand, exclamation mark. Close the H1, H2, roaring with flavor, dash, the main choice for lemonade. Close the H2. Should we get that capitalized? Alright, so we're done with our header now. And now we are going to div class equals mascot. Close that, and we're going to close our div. This is just, of course, so we can organize things. We can reference just this image of the mascot in our CSS later on. And so it's going to be image src equals, and this time I actually have an image to use. It's this one right here, and I'll show you that in just a second. Alt equals lion mascot in purple flowers. Close that. And so you see it's a very big image right now. There's the lion and the purple flowers. It's our little mascot. And if you'd like to use the same image as me, you can go over to the site I used was Pexels, and I searched purple lion, and this is the photo I got. This is the person who made it. This is the lion. And Pexels is a completely free to use for commercial uses website. It's what we use in all of the classes I've taken. It's always go to Pexels, free download. And that's what I just hit free download. And then you'd go over here to add image, hit upload file, and it will show up here. And you can just X out and it'll pop up right here. And you can just use that image if you'd like, or you can find a different image of a lion. Whatever you choose. So we're done with that div for now. But it's going to be hard to see anything else in our code because this image is taking up so much space because we haven't resized it yet. It's going to be hard to see the image because we haven't resized it yet. It's taking up so much space that we are going to go ahead and style just that image for now. And also, just clear out all these basic styles at first, just for now, because we are just going to start from scratch with this. But so first dot mascot space curly braces width. Oh no, sorry, that's the next part. Text align, center, margin 20 px, which is pixels, and then 0. Dot mascot again, and this is just the image we want to reference, so we're doing mascot image. So that's any image within the mascot class, and the width is going to be 200 pixels. And there we go. It's right in the middle, all easy, so we can see it, and we can see everything under it as well. So we are going to go back to our index page now. Go out of the div, and we are going to once again make another div, and this one is going to be content. I'm going to close out that div. Go in between them. We should be on line 18 and paragraph. Hey there, I'm William Reynolds. And this is my lemonade stand. Our secret recipe makes for the most refreshing lemonade you'll ever taste. Come on by and grab a cup. And then that's the first paragraph, and then the second one, our stand is open from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. every weekend at the corner of Main Street and Lemonade Lane. Close that paragraph. And the reason why we made these into different paragraph tags is so they have that break in between them. Without that, they would have just been one continuous big paragraph. We're done with that div for now. And then we're going to enter twice. Make another div. Class equals CTA. And that's because this is going to be a button, and it's our call to action button. That's what CTA is going to stand for here. So we're going to close that div. Oop, close. And since I had skipped over that slash to close it, it's saying, oh, you didn't close the tag before this, we've got issues. That's what that pink right there means. So, but when you close it, it goes away. That's code.org's way of telling you, there's an error in your code, fix it please. So your code will still work. So let's go to line 23 and make a button. So less than, button, greater than, order now. Close the button. And there it is. So we're done with our main page. We're going to work on the order now page, and then we will move to the all right, so we're done with that. And we will then move to the order now page, but first what we're going to do is we are going to wrap this button in a link. So ahref equals order.html, which is what we will name that. Close that, and then in between that we're going to do close the a tag, and then we're going to format that right. So we're going to tab in. All right, there we go. So now when you click on this, it will take you to another page. We haven't made the page yet, so it doesn't do it yet. But let's go ahead and add HTML, rename this order.html, and let's make sure our link works. So click it, and it should take you to this new page, and it does. Beautiful. Okay. So we are going to add in some data that you don't really need to worry yet at this point in the course, but it's still good to have in our code. All right, so we're done with that. And now we're going to put our title in. All right, and now the last thing we're going to do is link in our spreadsheet. So link rel equals spreadsheet, href equals style.css. Another common name for that would be styles with an S at the end, not CSS. So we're going to go to our header. H1, order lemonade. H2, fill out the form below to place your order. That is a heading 2 element. We're done with that header, so we're going to enter, and we're going to have another content class. So, and the point of this, having a div and having the class being content, is so that we don't have to go in and style this twice. We can just say every div with the class of content is going to be styled this way. And that's the whole point of CSS, is to have consistent styles across your pages so it feels like your site is just one happy little home. Because you wouldn't want to go from your bedroom to your bathroom and the vibe is completely different. The whole thing with CSS and just any type of design is to keep a similar style, and that's exactly what we're doing here with this content class. So we are going to make a form today, and so it's going to be less than form, and then we're going to say action. Submit order.php, and now we're not really doing anything with this, we're just setting it up like we are going to be doing something with it. And then method is going to be post. We don't need to really get into that right now, we're just setting it up like we will get into it. Close the form and go between those two. We should be on line 17 of the order.html, and let's start with the form. So you are going to have the layout for a form is to have label, input, label, input, label, input. So let's start with that. So less than label, for equals name, ID equals name, name equals name, required. And now labels are one. Oh, wait. That's for input. Sorry, I skipped over something. So inputs are ones that do not need a closing element. And you can see right there, that's the input, but labels do need a closing element. So our label, it's going to say for equals name, saying this is the label for the name. And our label is going to be name, and then close out that label. And you can see right there, name, and then the label. So we're done with that one. Enter, enter, do another label. This one is for email. We got email right there, and then we're going to do the input for it. So it's for email, the ID, email, name is email, and it's required. And now forms are very repetitive because you're saying for email, ID equals email, name equals email, but you've got to have that there because the more in depth you get with it, the more you'll realize, oh, I need this, I want this here, quantity, quantity in cups, and so, but here we are not only going to set this is required, we're also going to set a minimum of 1, and it's required. It's because they've got to order at least something. So label, additional comments, text area. So there's not an input, this is a text area. The ID is going to be message still. Name is still going to be message, but we don't have for here. And this one does have a closing. And see the text area, that's that one that you can drag, make it as big as you want it to, because you are intending to write more than just your name. Because you could have like a whole 3 sentences you need to tell them. And then we're going to do another button. Type equals submit. And that form and that div, and then we are all done with that page. And it's both of these pages are they're looking a little messy, they're looking a little boring, but we're gonna spice them up, make them look a lot better with this CSS now. So we are also going to comment our CSS a little. So first we're going to enter before, and we're going to go on line 1. We're going to say, we're going to do /*. We're going to say image, mascot image, */ and so we've commented this is what the styles are for. And then we're going to enter again, make that same comment, and we're just going to say general styling. So this is just general styling across all the pages. Enter, and then we say body, curly braces, font family is going to be Arial, and then the backup is going to be sans serif. Background color is going to be hashtag F4F4F4. The margin is going to be 0, and the padding is going to be 0. These are just some very basic things. We're not really doing anything too fancy with this, but the background color of our header is going to be a little different. Since we are doing a lemonade theme, it's going to be yellow. And we're going to refresh that. It should be editing it. Unless, of course, I've mistyped or misspelled something. It's always good to double check that kind of thing. Okay, so it did work on index, but it didn't work on order. Interesting. Oh, it's because we had a mistype style sheet, not spreadsheet. And there we go, it works now. All right, it's working now. And we are going to keep going where we left off with the header styles. So the color is going to be 4B0082. So this is what it's looking like so far everywhere. We go back to styles, so let's keep going. Padding is going to be 20 pixels. And the text align is going to be center. So we've got this centered, everything is looking good. And so now we are going to do another comment, and we're going to say content styling, close that comment, period, content, and we're going to go in between that. All right, max width, 800 pixels. Margin is going to be 20 pixels. Auto. The padding is going to be 20 pixels. The background color is going to be white. And the box shadow. No, this is one of my favorite parts to see. This is the box shadow. It makes it, it's so pretty. RGBA 0, 0, 0, 0.1. And it gives it a little shadow appearance. It makes it look like it's more, like it's sitting a little above, makes it looks more important, and really just draws attention, gives it a classy feeling. I love a good box shadow. And something to keep in mind is when you are doing CSS and you're doing something like padding, if you have 20 pixels, you need to write pixels. But if you just have 0 pixels, you do not need to specify pixels for 0. But for everything else, if you want to use pixels, you will need to specify it. And it won't work if you just have like the number 20. All right, and now we're going to move on to our call to action styles. So we are going to do first we're going to do .cta, and you can't see that, so I'm just going to space a little more so you can see this. And we're going to say text align, center, and you see it's centering itself, margin, 20 pixels 0. So we're done with that style, and now we're going to move on to CTA, specifically the button. I say background color is 4B0082, and it's that same color as that purple text up there, and you say, oh, well, you can't see order now. We are working on that. We're going to be fixing that up. So the color of that text is going to be white. And now you can read that a little better. The padding is 10 pixels, 20 pixels. The border, none. The border radius is going to be 5 pixels. That's going to round it a little. And then the cursor be a pointer when you go over it. So you can see it kind of changes when you go over it. And then you will see that and now to change it how it looks when we hover it, we're going to see CTA button, hover, enter, and then so the background color will change when we hover over it. And you see I spelled that wrong, and that's why it went pink. That's telling you have an error. You spelled this wrong. It's not going to work. Fix it so it will work, please. So we're going to do 8, A2, BE2. So then when we hover over it, it changes color. Pretty cool, right? Pretty cool. And now we are going to change and do some more. And we're going to do more content styling. So we're going to go back up here. We're going to go on line 36, enter, enter. And we're going to do another comment and say form, because we're still within content, but we're also going to do the form. So let's specify that as the content form. Content, we can do :form. And then .content form, enter, enter. Well, that was one too many enters. We can say max width. And if we want to watch this as we do it, 600 pixels, we can move over to this one and go back to styles. And we can watch it as we fix it up. Make sure everything looks how we want it to. And you can see things are changing already. Background. So we already have that background color like we want it. And the padding is the same in both, so we can actually take that off because we don't want to be too repetitive. Well, let's keep it because it does seem to be changing some things. Because specifically within the form, we want that padding, background color, white. But that doesn't change anything, so we don't need that because it doesn't change anything, but it's always good to test that. And box shadow, we already have a shadow there, but we want another shadow on the form, so we will do that twice. So we want 0, 0, 10 pixels, RGBA, 0, 0, 0, 0.1. I said 9 on accident, that should be 0. And so you see we have a second shadow. And then we are going to go ahead to do some styling for all of the labels. Display is going to be block, and we will get more into displays later on in the course. 10 pixels for the bottom margin. And we're going to do form input as well as the form text area because we want to style these similarly. Width 100%, so we want them to go out all the way. And then padding 10 pixels, and then the margin bottom is 15 pixels. And so what this does is it edits the margin, but only for the bottom, so you don't have to do all of them at once. You can just say, I only want to edit the margin of the bottom, nothing else for now. Do some bordering, border radius again, and that is going to be 5 pixels. Once again, we're just rounding some stuff out. And then we're going to just do the button. Background color is once again going to be our nice 4B0082, because once again, consistency is key here. Color white, padding 10 pixels, 20 pixels, border none, border radius 5 pixels. That's just a nice number for if you want to round 5, magic number for rounding. Cursor, pointer, and then we're gonna go form button hover, just like in the last one. Once again, repetition for when you're trying to learn coding is a great key. It's a great tool to have. It's just doing something over and over. Muscle memory, you'll remember it quicker. And that is all the styling that we are going to be doing for this form and this lemonade stand. And just to test it out a little, if you hit order now, it will take you right to the page. So congratulations, you have just learned how to make a form and you've made another multi-page website. So good job. Be on the lookout for lesson 5. And if you'd like to give out some ideas for what website we should make together next, drop it in the comments. And don't forget to like and subscribe. I'll see you next time at the Bit by Bit Coding Club online.